The time by Caracris is 6 p.m. and this is CBX Business News. The business news headlines are brought to you by QMax Wealth Management, making more possible. NHT funding extended, bank profits under pressure, and Europe expands sanctions. Good evening and welcome to CBX Business News for Tuesday, June 9, 2026. I am Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for joining us. Coming up, the Senate has approved an extension allowing the government to access 57 billion Jamaican dollars from the National Housing Trust, providing additional support for the 2026-27 budget. Also ahead, Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago reports an 11% decline in profit as the impact of the country's asset tax weighs on earnings. And later, the European Union moves to target more than 30 Russian banks in its latest round of sanctions, increasing pressure on Moscow's financial system. Stay with us as we unpack these stories and more right after the break. The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, tease the senses, and Pulse Investments. Welcome back to CBX Business News. We begin with a move that could shape Jamaica's fiscal strategy for years to come. Jamaica's government has secured access to approximately 57 billion Jamaican dollars in National Housing Trust (NHT) funds after the Senate approved legislation extending annual withdrawals from the trust. The bill allows the government to continue drawing down 11.4 billion Jamaican dollars annually from the NHT until 2031. Supporters of the measure argued that the extension is necessary to help maintain fiscal stability without imposing additional taxes on Jamaicans or cutting essential government programs. During the debate, Government Senator Keith Duncan pointed to Jamaica's challenging economic environment and warned that discontinuing the transfers could place additional pressure on the national budget.
Mr. President, at this time, there's just too much economic uncertainty and there are real demands on the public purse post-Melissa with very little fiscal room. So the government must be prudent and continue with its arrangements for the next 5 years. These drawdowns will provide budgetary support to maintain fiscal stability. Without these funds, the government would face even worse budget deficits, to be forced to implement new taxes on the public purse or cut programs and impacting public services and disaster recovery. The NHT's robust asset position and strong revenue base allow it to sustain these transfers over the medium term without sacrificing its ability to fund housing programs and maintain cash surpluses.
Opposition senators, however, argued that the trust's primary mandate should remain affordable housing and questioned whether continued withdrawals could limit resources available to address Jamaica's housing shortage. The passage of the bill means the government has now secured a key financing source through the end of the decade, even as debate continues over the balance between fiscal management and housing investment. Meanwhile, Government Senator Keith Duncan says Jamaica's housing challenge is no longer a lack of financing, but a shortage of homes reaching the market. He argued that while the trust has sufficient resources to support housing development, a range of supply-side bottlenecks continue to slow delivery of new units.
Despite the strong position of the NHD, as I said, the demand for affordable housing continues to outstrip supply. I'm sure all Jamaicans and members on both sides of the aisle would want to see the supply increased, but there are issues that must be addressed, and we must address them as a country. Mr. President, we can state confidently that the availability of financing is not the issue, as I have demonstrated that the NHT has the capacity and the resources to finance. However, the real issue lies with the supply side constraints, that is the building capacity in the housing market. There is currently a mismatch between capacity, building capacity, and financing, which must be closed.
That was Government Senator Keith Duncan. Jamaica's Special Economic Zone Authority has named technology entrepreneur and investor Ambassador Dushyant Savadia as its new chairman. The announcement was made by the authority, which says Savadia's experience in technology, innovation, and global business will support the continued development of Jamaica's Special Economic Zone regime. Savadia is the founder and chief executive officer of Amber Group, a Jamaican-founded technology company that has expanded its operations across multiple international markets. He is also Jamaica's Special Investment Envoy for Technology and has been a prominent advocate for digital transformation, technology investment, and innovation-led economic growth. The authority says they welcome the opportunity to work with Savadia to strengthen Jamaica's position as a premier destination for business and investment. In financial news, First Rock Real Estate Investments Limited is reporting a return to profitability after posting a sharp improvement in operating performance during 2025. The real estate investment company says net operating income surged 170% year over year to approximately $4 million, while total comprehensive income climbed 102% to $151,000. Total assets also expanded 15% to $65.8 million, reflecting continued growth across its regional property portfolio. In its 2025 annual report, Interim Chairman Michael Banbury said the company benefited from stronger rental revenues, favorable movements in property values, and its continued focus on income-generating assets. He noted that First Rock returned to positive comprehensive income attributable to shareholders following a challenging prior year. The company also reported that its principal development project is now about 90% complete, bringing it closer to unlocking returns from years of investment. Management says it is continuing to explore opportunities across the Caribbean and Latin America, aimed at increasing recurring income and strengthening long-term shareholder value. First Rock ended the year with shareholders' equity of approximately $25.8 million and says its focus remains on expanding its portfolio of quality income-producing assets while pursuing sustainable long-term growth. We move to the latest updates from the JSE equities. In Tuesday's trading session, the JSE market activity resulted in the trading of 104 stocks, of which 39 advanced, 49 declined, and 16 traded firm. Leading the winners are ISP Finance Services, 138 Student Living Jamaica Variable Preference, General Accident Insurance Company JA, and JMMB Group 7.15% cumulative redeemable preference share. While leading the losers are MPC Caribbean Clean Energy, Sagicor Real Estate X Fund, Mayberry Jamaican Equities and Consolidated Bakeries Jamaica. The main index advanced by 1,371.60 points to close at 339,952 points. The junior market index declined by 17.85 points to close at 3,008.53 points. It's time for the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. In today's Market Education feature, we're looking at gross income. Gross income is the total amount of money an individual earns before taxes and other deductions are taken out. It includes income from all sources such as wages, salaries, bonuses, investments, and other earnings. For businesses, gross income is often referred to as gross profit. It is calculated by subtracting the cost of goods sold from total revenue and is an important measure of a company's financial performance. That was the Market Education feature, brought to you by CARICRIS, Regional Ratings, Global Standards. And that's it for the local news segment. Please stay with us. The regional news is up next. The local news is brought to you by Derrimon Trading, better from the start. The Development Bank of Jamaica, facilitating economic growth and development. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances, Tease the Senses, and Pulse Investments.
Treat the customer as though the customer is your family. Exhilarating to have people take you for what you are. And I felt that way. I came to Jamaica and found the woman I love, vice versa. If you go out, to bring back the money home. That's how you have to look after your family.
I'm trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
I'm also trading stocks to achieve my financial goals.
Start a conversation with the Jamaica Stock Exchange.
Check jamstockx.com for information and a list of registered stockbrokers. You can also call the Jamaica Stock Exchange at 876-967-3271 for information on how to begin. I am achieving my financial goals.
I'm achieving my financial goals.
Welcome back. And now for the regional business news. St. Lucia is offering taxpayers another chance to clear their books in a move aimed at encouraging tax compliance. The government has extended its tax amnesty program until December 2027, waiving all interest and penalties on tax liabilities owed up to the end of 2025, Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre announced Monday, describing the initiative as one of the most generous tax relief concessions ever introduced by the government.
Today also, the Cabinet will approve the extended tax amnesty, which will be in effect till December 2027. And what is important to note is that all interest and penalties of taxes due up to December 2025 will be waived. This is probably one of the most generous tax concessions ever. All interest and penalties due on taxes up to December 2025 are going to be waived. Today also,
the extension forms part of a broader effort to improve tax compliance and recover outstanding government revenues. Pierre also reinforced that the country's fiscal position remains stable despite the cost of fuel subsidies and other support programs.
knock on wood, We've been meeting our projections up to now. We don't know, as you know, we subsidize fuel products heavily. The economy has been doing pretty well in terms of activity, but we are monitoring the situation very closely. But for now, we are meeting our projections for now. And this is why we'll pay particular, and you'll hear more about it from me, we're going to pay particular emphasis on the tax amnesty.
That was St. Lucia's Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre. A fraud scheme involving fake government identification cards has prompted an urgent warning from financial authorities in Trinidad and Tobago. The Ministry of Finance and the Financial Intelligence Unit, FIUTT, say individuals have been impersonating officials from regulatory and law enforcement agencies using fraudulent identification documents and fictitious job titles. Authorities warn that the scheme could be used to solicit money, obtain sensitive financial information, or defraud businesses and members of the public, undermining confidence in legitimate financial oversight processes. The ministry stressed that the identification cards being circulated are not issued or recognized by the FIUTT, the Central Bank, the Police Service, or the Government of Trinidad and Tobago. Businesses are also being advised to verify the credentials of anyone claiming to represent a regulatory or investigative agency and to report suspicious activity to the relevant authorities. In corporate news, Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago's profits took a hit in the first half of the year as a new asset tax offset growth in lending and revenue. The bank reported after-tax profit of $301 million for the 6 months ended April 2026, an 11% decline from the corresponding period last year. Second quarter earnings fell even more sharply, dropping 19% to $140 million. While profits came under pressure, the bank's core business continued to expand. Revenue inched up 1% to just over $1 billion, supported by higher net interest income and growth in its retail loan portfolio. However, operating costs rose 14% following the introduction of the new regulatory asset tax in January. The bank also continued investing in digital security and customer experience initiatives while maintaining strong credit quality, with non-performing loans remaining below 2% of total loans. Despite the earnings decline, Scotiabank declared a quarterly dividend of 70 cents per share and reported continued loan growth, particularly in residential mortgages. It's now time for news from the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange. Overall market activity resulted from trading in 18 securities, of which 4 advanced, 7 declined, and 7 traded firm. Today's winners are Trinidad and Tobago NGL, Grace Kennedy, Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago, and Republic Financial Holdings, while leading the losers are Unilever Caribbean, the West Indian Tobacco Company, National Enterprises, and CIBC Caribbean Bank. Trading activity resulted in the following movements. The All-TNT Index declined by 0.57 points to close at 1,436.08. The Composite Index also declined, but by 0.84 points to close at 986.73. The Cross-Listed Index slipped by 0.16 points to close at 70.77, while the SME Index remained at 88.24. And we take a short break, but please do stay with us. The international news segment is up next.
Caribbean dreams, instant turmeric tea. What you put in is what you get out. What you put in is what you get out. Yeah. Build up your body. up your brain. Take on the world now. Say bye-bye pain. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Be good to you. Caribbean Dreams, instant turmeric tea. Distributed by Amalgamated Distributors Limited. It smells so good right now.
Welcome back. In international news, the European Union, EU, is proposing a fresh round of financial sanctions aimed at increasing pressure on Russia's economy and limiting efforts to bypass existing restrictions. Speaking on the bloc's proposed 21st sanctions package on Tuesday, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen announced plans to extend transaction bans to 31 additional Russian banks. The measures would also target 20 banks, crypto firms, and other financial institutions in third countries accused of helping sanctioned Russian entities continue operating despite existing restrictions.
We are expanding our transaction bans to 31 more Russian banks and to 20 banks, crypto firms or platforms, and oil traders in third countries. Ones that have been servicing sanctioned Russian entities and individuals or circumventing our measures. For the first time, we will introduce the possibility of a full third country ban for crypto asset services. It will act as a strong deterrent for the countries hosting platforms that help Russia evade our sanctions.
That was European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen. The proposed package reflects growing concern among Western governments that digital assets and international intermediaries are being used to circumvent sanctions and maintain access to global financial networks. Meanwhile, European regulators are also stepping up scrutiny of some of the world's largest technology companies. European regulators have ordered Meta to restore access to WhatsApp for competing artificial intelligence chatbot providers as part of an ongoing antitrust investigation. The European Commission says early intervention is necessary to preserve competition in the rapidly expanding AI market. Officials argue that WhatsApp serves as a critical gateway for businesses seeking to reach consumers across Europe. The case stems from complaints by smaller AI developers who alleged that Meta restricted access to WhatsApp while giving preferential treatment to its own Meta AI assistant. Meta has pushed back against the allegations, describing the decision as regulatory overreach. The company says it intends to appeal the ruling, arguing that competitors should not receive free access to services that businesses typically pay to use. Under the interim order, Meta must restore access to the WhatsApp Business Application Programming Interface, or API, within 5 working days. If regulators ultimately determine that the company violated EU competition rules, Meta could face fines of up to 10% of its global annual revenue. And another technology giant is facing a different challenge as it rolls out its next generation of artificial intelligence tools. A large portion of Apple's global device base may be unable to support the company's most advanced artificial intelligence features, according to new analysis from Morgan Stanley. The investment firm estimates that more than 850 million iPhones cannot run basic Apple intelligence capabilities, while over 1.3 billion devices will be unable to support the most advanced version of Siri. Apple recently unveiled the upgraded virtual assistant at its Worldwide Developers Conference as it seeks to compete with rivals, including ChatGPT, Google's Gemini, and Anthropic's Claude. However, analysts say the company could face challenges encouraging customers to upgrade devices based solely on software improvements. The enhanced AI Siri is available only on newer hardware, including models in the iPhone 15 and iPhone 16 lineups. Experts say the limitation is largely due to hardware requirements, with advanced AI functions requiring more powerful chips and greater memory capacity for on-device processing. Over in the United States, President Donald Trump is pointing to employment growth, stock market gains, and private sector investment as evidence of what he describes as a strong U.S. economy. Speaking with reporters on Tuesday, Trump says more Americans are employed today than at any other point in the country's history. He cited recent labor market data and investment activity as indicators of continued economic strength.
Jobs numbers, we have record jobs. We have more people working in the United States today than at any time in the history of our country. And you see the numbers on the stock exchange. We had just today 73 records. We have 73 new highs. So out of my short 1.5 years, we've had 73 brand new highs on the various stock exchanges, and that's a record. Nobody's ever had anything like that. And that's during a military conflict. So, pretty amazing. Jobs.
Trump also argued that investor confidence has remained resilient despite military conflicts and uncertainty in global energy markets.
And even the oil and gas, it's lower during a military conflict than it was during the Biden administration. And they didn't have that because to them it was okay that Iran has a nuclear weapon. And I say it's not okay. So the B-2 bombers did a big job and a great job, and we have got that in very good control. They will not have a nuclear weapon. Okay.
That was President of the United States, Donald Trump. And that's it for the international segment of the newscast. The news recap is coming up on the other side of the break.
We get the big contract. 50,000 units a month for 3 years. Great. Won't need help.
If you are a business owner that requires capital for the expansion of your business, talk to a registered broker today to find out more about listing your company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange, an efficient alternative to other financing options.
Thank God for the Jamaica Stock Exchange junior market.
The Jamaica Stock Exchange, providing a fair, efficient, and transparent stock market.
And now to recap our top stories. In the local news, Senate approves $57 billion Jamaican NHT budget support extension. Regionally, Scotiabank Trinidad and Tobago profit falls 11% as asset tax bites. And internationally, European Union targets over 30 Russian banks in new sanctions expansion. Those were the stories making today's CBX Evening News. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Rashel Moncrieffe. Thanks for watching CBX, your region, your business, your source.
Hi, my name is Almondo Cox, the founder and CEO of Resolve IT, value-added technology solutions company. You're watching